Welcome to Happy Today podcast. This is a podcast for those who want to improve service experience of internal services. If you use ServiceNow or other enterprise service management system, then this is for you. Today, in this episode, we are talking about digital transformation. It's a really wide topic, but let's start by having a McKinsey study that said 70% of digital transformation projects fail.
Yeah, that's terrible numbers. Also another one, Harvard Business Review said that last year told there was a 1.3 trillion spent on digital transformation, and it was estimated that 900 billion went to waste.
900 billion.
Yes, that's about the same 70% of all the investment that was done in that area. So so I didn't expect these numbers to be this bad. But what did they say in the McKinsey report? That what was the reasons?
Well, I think it's kind of already in the title of digital transformation projects, and I think it was what they were saying it was actually a Forbes article that was referring to this study, saying that it's really how you measure it and how you think about it. You can't really think about it that as an event that just happens once. So because this whole digital transformation it's a larger thing, it's a journey, and it's something that I was talking with Oscar Barry in an earlier episode of Happy Today, and we were discussing that I think and he thinks that it's just because they are measuring these projects from the project management point of view, not by the outcomes. So is it on time and on budget? But whatever it produced is not the driving force of the project team and the project manager. That's maybe what I saw from the Forbes study, and maybe something that I also believe might be the reason.
I think I would say that one way of running your IT and project in a different way is that start to ask from the project manager and even the whole team one relevant question, and that is, what is the target for this project?
Yeah.
And I've done that quite several times, and every time you get an answer 17th of September or 200,000 euros, you know that this will not be a successful process from the outcomes point of view. Everybody in the team should be knowing why we are doing this, what is the target, what we try to achieve by whatever we are transforming.
Yeah.
And I think already the digital transformation word, there is a really lovely word, because it's telling about a trip, it's telling about change.
Yes.
It is not one project. But of course that transformation is in reality shared to projects. But those projects should be having targets, not the traditional project targets that are a timetable and money. Of course you have to have them as well. But the first thing in people's mind should be why. Yeah. Why we are doing this.
And I think for us it's pretty clear. You are doing it because of the employee experience, making people happy and more productive.
Yeah.
Because you are totally changing the way people do work, and that is what is happening nowadays. That's what you are after. It's not like you are deploying a system. It's not a system transformation. It's not a system migration project.
And you possibly know that I almost, as much as I hate SLAs, I hate the wording of digital transformation.
Yeah.
It is relating to technology. No, it's work transformation or even human behavior transformation that you should be in your mind when you are doing this kind of a big change.
Yeah.
If you are thinking about technology when you are doing it, only thinking about moving something to cloud without thinking how this changes how people work and why we do it from that perspective, I would say then you most likely will be failing.
Yeah, and I think for our listeners, it might be a quite daunting task trying to affect the whole culture of the whole company. But like you were saying, I think bringing in the employee experience, and let's measure the employee experience, what these different projects are bringing, what changes are they making, and make that as the measurement of all the projects. So all the projects will have the same measurements. And I think from your past life, you had a good example of how to visualize this productivity and happiness thing.
Yeah, I was earlier doing a lot of projects and doing service design and running a company doing service design in consumer and business to business world, and we had one principle that we never gave up. And that was that the company didn't take any projects in if the customer, together with us, was not able to measure the end results in a sense of how happy end users will be. That there was a reason, there was more enthusiastic end users after the project. But that was not enough. We had to also have a business case. Because let's say innovation as such, it is easy to get new ideas what you could do in service management. But when you're thinking about it in a way that each idea has to have value for end user, it has to have value for business. And then prioritizing things on base of these two very, very simple thinkings. Then you have people in your team. And I think the digital transformation, when you're thinking about how to run it right, you are running people. You're not running those servers, you are running people.
Yes.
And communicating these simple things that in these projects, we are doing it because we want to make people more happy in this area for these reasons.
So you had a good example from one of our customers, Virgin Trains, like how they define the outcome of the project. So how was it?
I loved it. This was something they presented in one event in UK. They told that every time they start something in the digital transformation program, they first use half a day to define, let's get a news article.
Yeah.
What would be published after this project to the, let's say, public or the employees? What was achieved? And that kind of mindset thinking is a totally different thing. And that helps you kind of to focus on the value.
And I think one of the important things is the fear that people have. And I think that's a really good approach also, that if you already visualize like, hey, this will change it like this is like how the work will be afterwards, then you're kind of tackling all of the fears. What happens to my work now when this is automated? What can I do next? And I think a good example was the interview we had with Tieto and Fujitsu, like how they use their agents to actually teach the chatbots. So this way of different way of working, of automating things, part of the whole digital transformation is that I teach my routine work to be done by the bot. But it's not like the bot is replacing me. I just like all the repetitive stuff, I'll just teach that to the machine, and then I can spend a lot of time on the creative things when I'm problem solving and that kind of things.
Yeah, and I think this all comes again to people, and those people who are doing those projects, if you really communicate them these two things, experience and business case, they start to think about, and not only that the most creative people are then thinking about also the business case, or the other side, the technical people are thinking about how they make people happy. That is a value. But all these people, they now know what is their meaning, why they are doing this.
Yes.
This was something I discussed with one of our partners that said that one of the biggest things when we work together that I haven't realized this.
Yeah.
He said to me that the point is that now my team is not just doing some ServiceNow forms without understanding why they are doing it. Now they know that they are doing it because we want to make the end users more happy and more effective. And that's a different thing. You have more motivated people than doing the thing, and they understand why they are doing it, which is so simple to say, but still something that is the traditional IT project culture is not there yet, which is very sad, but it's hopefully coming.
Yeah, but I think as a summary, there was also this CIO review article on the trends, and it said that the employee experience is moving to the center stage, but also that digital transformation is one of the biggest trends for 2019. I think we both agree that you can't do digital transformation without the employee experience, without thinking about the employee experience. And on the other hand, you can tie these things together. So when you think about the business case, when you think about justification for the C-level, bringing these two things together, that we are doing these projects, we are having this journey because we want to change the way people do work, which will improve the experience and the productivity.
Yeah.
Or
I actually, and maybe the last thing I want to say in this episode is that digital transformation is really, really heavily linked to service management and service desk work. They are not a separate thing. And we have seen this in several cases when customers have been doing a huge digital transformation and measuring things from the service management perspective, the happiness to tickets and all that. it changes. You have to be able to follow that. Okay, now that application was updated. It changes your perception of your services, because it's not that we would be measuring service management or service desk first layer. We are measuring the services, and that is what you are changing in the digital transformation. So that's you should be kind of proud of your position as a service owners or kind of a service desk running service desk, because that you can help everybody in the IT organization do their work better if you kind of just take the role.
True. Hey, thank you. And if you love this episode, be sure to give us 5 stars in iTunes and all the other places where you do it. And also leave comments. If there's topics that you want us to talk about, please use Twitter, use LinkedIn, and we are happy to address those things with Sami.
Hey,
thank you.
Thank you.